not going to sound great. But welcome back to Gridiron Gamble, the only podcast that puts its money where its mouth is. I'm your host, Rich Ron, and I'm at a Fairfield Inn near MetLife Stadium after a Jets dub. And I'm joined by the entire collective, the Disciple, Brett Colson, Donnie, DP Peters, and the resident moose himself, Mo Nawara. If you are watching this on YouTube, sorry, no graphics this week. It's an away game. Like and subscribe. If you are listening on your podcatcher of choice, please rate and review. 5 stars only. Unfortunately, Garrett Wilson was just a 4-star. After that catch last night, I wanted to shout him out. But 5 stars only, like Joe Mixon, Oklahoma Sooner, right? No? Boomer Sooner. The Jets couldn't escape making their normal idiotic mistakes last night. Malachi Corley fumbling at the goal line, roughing the punter, leveraging the snapper on a chip shot field goal by Kahami Fairbairn. But a miracle catch by Garrett Wilson. Devontae Adams shutting the door at the end. Brett, this is a team that you've been loving all year. We nearly talked about putting Jets -2, I think it was 2.5 in the contest, on the card. This was one of those games where everybody that was kind of near sports betting, that kind of know what's going on, how are the Jets favorites? I gotta bet the Texans. This was a delicious spot, but with all these injuries, it was just tough to click into.
Yeah, if this was a Sunday game, this would for sure be on our card. But yeah, the Thursday night, and yeah, like you said, there's so many injuries with a lot of these games this week where we can't risk getting our card in early.
Did it look as enjoyable as it was in the stadium? I mean, the first half was crazy. Sell the chant. Was that audible on the feed last night? No, nobody.
You're asking me? I don't watch Thursday Night Football. You're asking the wrong guy. I was watching the little helmets go back and forth.
Same. I was driving to a poker tournament.
Something poker. All right, so a bridge show this week. We're going to skip split games and lone wolf and get right into the meat of it. But before we serve up the card, we've got 2 consensus games that did not make the card that all 4 hosts are on. But once again, don't know if that's a good thing because our record this year with consensus picks is squadouche. One of the consensus picks that made the card last week was one of our 2 losers. We did land a body blow in the contest 3-2 in week 8. And that was the Dolphins, unfortunately. And we have another AFC East team as a consensus. That's right, DP, your beloved New England Patriots. But it's only because rule of never lay points with a bad team. The Tennessee Titans have a -3 next to them, DP, overall on New England.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, at least specifically, I was wrong, thinking the Patriots would not really play for Gerard Mayo, and they ended up doing so. So I'm thinking there, if that's going to be the case, how can the Titans be laying 3 points? That's a dreadful franchise.
I mean, that's really all you have to say. Brett, you also have New England in your.
Yeah, it's a weird spot because normally I'd be all about clicking the Titans here. After the blowout loss last week, a game they didn't really even look that bad in. Meanwhile, the Pats coming off a win over the Jets, who just beat the Texans in primetime last night. So like that adds even a little more pizzazz to that Patriots win last week. However, this is moving toward 3.5. If this is at 3.5 on Saturday, the Titans are likely to be very popular. As crazy as that is to say. So this is an easy click for leverage. This Titans injury report is also a nightmare. We'll see how it shakes out on Friday, but a lot of DNPs on the Thursday injury report. That's concerning. So this is one I would never bet in real life at 3 for the Patriots, but when you consider where we sit in the contest and what we need to accomplish to get back into this thing, I'm happy to take a leverage side like this, especially, like you said, when it involves a bad team laying a field goal. You can't do it.
Our other consensus pick is the Jacksonville Jaguars, roar, plus a full touchdown traveling to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. Mo, you and I are the highest on this one. We both have it in our top 5s. This would have contended for my top play, but my biggest concern is what does a bad Jaguars team do when you remove a left tackle that matters? That being said, the Eagles still can't cover. This is so many points. The Eagles and the Bengals are two teams that, it's funny that they played each other last week because I am looking for spots to fade both of them because I think both of their awards are very similar and they lead to being, as favorites, having trouble getting leads and extending leads because they can't stop the pass. So, Mo, I absolutely wanted to love the Jags, wanted to make them my number one play, but I just couldn't with Cam Robinson being shipped off to him.
Yeah, I bet them in real life with American dollars. Like you said, just a passing game that, even though it's banged up, I think there's still enough teeth for them to get after a pretty weak secondary for the Eagles, one that might not even have Darius Slay. We'll see what happens there. I don't know if I got an updated Thursday report there, but yeah, I think there's kind of two ways the Jags can cover this. They can just kind of stay in it with their passing offense, or they could backdoor this one, which I think the backdoor is like always going to be open with these Eagles, to be honest. And yeah, and also could be leverage as well, since this is sitting 7.5 in real life. So I don't know, man. Even though people like the Jags, maybe they'll be on the other side with the free half point off a key number in this one. But I kind of like the Jags, man.
This could keep going up too.
Well, that was the other point that Mo just brought up, is that for some reason, these betting groups just keep releasing Jags every single week. So the Jags have just been a fake sharp specialist contest every single week. Their net picks is outrageous, but I think this Cam Robinson trade might send it a little overboard. And then with the Eagles coming off two absolute barn burner victories against the Giants, and then a Bengals team that everybody loves, in a game where we actually got leverage with the Eagles in the contest. Yeah, people are seeing Philadelphia with very rose-colored glasses currently. All right, let's get to the card. We'll go in alphabetical order because I'll be honest, I don't know what the order is. But we all had different picks, so there's no tiebreakers to be concerned with. Alphabetical order means Brett goes first. And Brett, this is a spot that I think all of us were excited to snag against a team that has performed against very bad competition and now has a very, very meaningful step up in class. The line reflects that, but I still don't know if it captures the actual delta between these two teams.
Yeah, I've got the Ravens -9 against the Broncos. This is now sitting at 8, and I don't understand why. This is a terrible matchup for the Broncos, who have, like you said, found most of their success against bad teams, especially offensively, on the ground. And Baltimore leads the NFL in rush defensive success rate, top 5 in rush defense DVOA. Do we trust Bo Nix against this kind of pass funnel defense? I don't think he can take advantage of the deficiencies in this Ravens defense. Just a good spot to buy the Ravens off a weird loss last week. A well-coached team that should bounce back against a team that has overperformed against poor competition for several weeks now. So yeah, I love the Ravens here.
Mo, you look worried. The Broncos are a team you've definitely stumped for this entire season. But there's really only one thing the Ravens are poor at, and that's defending the pass. And I, for one, am not worried about Bo Nix buccaneering into Baltimore and having any success.
I'm just. Have we ever had a -9 on the card before? Did you research this?
I did not research this, but I distinctly remember a spot with my fight New York Jets back when Arizona was flying high. I forget this. It couldn't have been Kurt Warner. We haven't been potting for that long, but Zona was -7 in a spot against the Jets once, and we were like, we were stopping strangers on the street. We were like, you have to bet Arizona -7 in the spot. I think the Cardinals won that game by like 30. But this also gives me confidence in the spots where we're taking big favorites. I think are so rare that I don't know. They just seem like so obvious. This seems like such an obvious spot where if Baltimore gets up 7-0 in this game, it's like it's 99-0. Because what are the Broncos going to do in negative script against the real football? I don't know.
I mean, okay, I actually thought I had my fare a little lower than 9 on this one. I still clicked Ravens because there's just no way I'm clicking on Bo Nix in Baltimore. I can't take bad quarterbacks in Baltimore. I just don't. I'm done fading the Ravens in those spots. But, man, how many farts have the Ravens had against bad teams when they were over 7-point favorites? It seems like there's at least one every year. Obviously, there was already the Raiders. They were huge favorites over the Colts last year and lost that game outright. I think either last year or the year before, they had that one where they needed the 66-yard field goal. I don't remember who they were playing, but they were huge favorites in that game too, because everyone had them in Survivor.
Lions.
Yeah, I think it was Lions the year before they were good. Yeah. So, yeah, this is just like Ravens' MO. They just don't stomp these bad teams for some reason. But, man, it's hard to imagine how Bo Nix and then this passing offense could have success. I think getting the corners back is maybe going to be transformative for this Ravens defense too. I mean, I think people are maybe overlooking that a little bit. I know Cleveland has obviously done well on defense in these divisional matchups against strong offenses from, Cincinnati and Baltimore at times, but people are forgetting, though, that, yes, Jameis did go for 300 yards, but, I mean, he was playing against, replacement-level corners in that game.
And last week wasn't the Lamar blows it game either. Lamar played excellent. And, Rashad Bateman just lets a football hit him in the face because he can't see through the sun. Maybe get a visor, my guy. And then on the other side, Jameis throws multiple turnover-worthy throws. They're just not caught by Ravens defenders. So I think this is a good spot to buy them off of that loss. DP, you are up next. I feel like this is a theme because your top pick was sniped by the collective. So we get one of your 6 lone wolves this season on the card. You can't pivot to your next pick.
We're not going to put it on the card.
Well, you can't pivot to your next pick because that too is a lone wolf. So
I can pivot to my 4th pick.
You can, which is a consensus pick. So I'll cede the floor to you, DP.
Well, I mean, my pick would have been the Dolphins +6.
The greatest football team.
I mean, I just feel like the Bills are flying a little bit too high right now for me to want to back them, and this feels like a lot of points. My 3rd pick, the Cowboys, I don't see the Falcons really putting Dak under pressure, so why can't the Cowboys score points?
This is if the Cowboys game is interesting to me in the contest. Has it gotten to 3 in real life? It's been sitting at an expensive 2.5 for most of the week, but I mean, I think
I bet it at
to.
3 minus 105.
Okay, it has to get at 3. In what world are people clicking the Cowboys, betting on the Cowboys, putting hard-earned money that they've generated at work on the Cowboys, anywhere near a field goal? I understand it from a pure leverage play because I think that you will certainly be getting leverage on the Cowboys in this contest, but I don't know if I can stomach that. They're dead men walking. So, what is your pivot then, Stephen?
Well, then I'll put the Patriots on.
The New England Patriots. You're not going to get any argument from us. Gesundheit, Mo. Well, if we weren't going, I guess we are going leverage with the Patriots. This is a great leverage spot. I didn't know what to do with this game, Mo, because everything is telling me that the road favorite here is such the obvious spot. I ended up clicking your side. It is a majority pick. I think only one person clicked against it. It was Donnie. Donnie had it at the bottom of his top 5. But every smart person, every fake sharp, everybody, they love Sean McVay. They love the Rams. Extra rest. Puka and Kupp are back, lining up to take the Rams as favorites. So I guess there's only one obvious thing to do.
Yeah, I even bet the Seahawks. I'm surprised everyone likes the Rams this much, really. But I kind of like Seattle. Isn't this 2 equally matched teams? And the home team is getting points in a game with a dome team in bad weather? I mean, last week, so you have a Seahawks team that I kind of want to buy into off that Bills game. That was such a disaster. I mean, I can't even explain to you guys, if you didn't watch it, how the Seahawks pissed away easy opportunities for points. I think they were on the one twice. And they had
Bills fumbling in the shadow of their own goal line and getting first downs.
Yeah, and the Seahawks snapped it over Geno's head for minus 25 yards from the one. And then they were on the one, go for fourth down, and Geno just trips over the lineman's foot and then just like is pounding the ball in mid-play because he's so mad instead of trying to scramble back up. Yeah, that was something. That was a complete implosion last week. I'm guessing this game will be much better from the Seahawks. A couple of injuries that concerned me a bit, but yeah, I'm worried they're not going to be able to stop the run here because the Rams are going to come pound the rock probably. But that kind of plays into their favor, honestly, because the scariest thing about the Rams is when they drop back and throw to Puka Nacua. So, yeah, I don't see the Rams getting too many stops either in this game. So I'm just gonna take the contrarian points here in a spot where I think the Seahawks are gonna play better, and the Rams. Everyone is so excited to buy in. Fade the team that looked the best last week. I mean, they pounded the Vikings last week.
Yeah, everybody's super excited about the Rams coming off that victory. Playoffs, get the band back together. I mean, they were literally rumblings, and who knows how valid these were, right? Because we've got all these shitty aggregator accounts going and everything about how they were, for sure, it sounds like, shopping Cooper Kupp. That was actually coming from reliable sources at The Athletic. But there were also rumblings of shopping Stafford, which I think those were a little more aggregator, user-generated bullshit. Yeah, look at Brett. The bane of Brett's existence. So. But yeah, we go from this Rams team that
bad defense.
Yeah, what this game really comes down to, like, what is Jared Verse going to do? Honestly, like this is a Seattle Seahawks offensive line that can be got. But like, are we just going to buy into the fact that Jared Verse is just an elite pass rusher already? Maybe, but like, this is the kind of spot where you have to see it.
And doesn't Seattle have the better quarterback here? I mean, I think Geno's playing better than Stafford.
Your team Stafford. Come on. No, I'm not. No way.
He still makes boneheaded mistakes at times, like throwing right into DB's chests. Geno's playing well.
All right, we'll get to my pick, and Brett picked the other side once again and put them in his top 5. Even off of a win, Brett cannot get away from the Cleveland Browns. But I have the Los Angeles Chargers as my top play. The most comforting thing about the Chargers, coming out of their very early bye, I think they had the first bye of the season, is that their pass rate has basically flipped. Where during that week off, I think Harbaugh just sat down and he was like, wait a minute, I've been trying to ground and pound this whole time. We have Justin Herbert! The guy's good. The guy makes plays. Even when it's a called passing down, he can make something happen with his feet. Ladd McConkey has arrived. The guy is already an automatic playmaker. Donnie's guy, Josh Palmer, sprinkling in some big plays. Donnie, I think you're over, what was it, over 900? Was it 700?
I think it was much less than that.
Yeah, I think it was 700. 700 and a half. Maybe drawing live? This Browns team. Jameis threw, just like we said in the Ravens game, multiple turnover-worthy plays. A defense that is super injured. JOK is already ruled out with the neck injury. We've got crucial injuries in the secondary as well with Denzel Ward. So I think the Browns kind of won their Super Bowl. Their Deshaun's no longer here game. They're got that out of the way. And this is just a Chargers team that, like, is not going to make mistakes. And the further that they lean into Justin Herbert being an elite quarterback, the more success they're going to have.
I just want to say that throw he made last week where he didn't step into it and it literally hit a missile that hit Quentin Johnston in the shoulder 40 yards down the field when he was blanket. That was one of the best throws I've seen in years. I could not even fathom how he made that throw.
like
That was a completely absurd throw.
I feel like he makes those every week, though.
Yeah.
He's got to be the most underappreciated player in the NFL by a mile. Herbert is amazing.
So why'd you pick against him? Why are you still in love?
Because
with
I'm
your
stubborn.
Cleveland Browns?
Because I'm stubborn. Like, normally I would look at this game the move off the look ahead. I'd be like, okay, this is either too big a move or it's warranted and the number is right where it should be. But I think the market was just so wrong about the Browns last week and might still be wrong. Like, this looks so much like the Browns of last year if they're healthy. That's where the worry is with Cleveland, is this injury report. Friday's going to be big. Batonio, Denzel Ward, and Njoku. Can these guys get a meaningful practice in? I guess we'll see. I put this in my top 5, but it is dependent on what the injury report looks like on Friday.
And 1.5 being such a dead number, this is one of those where, like, I don't think anybody's running out to take either side because they're not going to see themselves getting value in the number. People just genuinely, when they're taking dogs, they like to get full field goals, full touchdowns. And when they're betting favorites, it's almost like they want to feel like they're getting the value, like betting a -2.5 or betting a 6.5 instead of this dead 1.5 number. So I think this is just going to be a low-owned game on both sides. So I'm not too concerned about leverage. I did have a game tied in confidence points with the Chargers that I wanted to get your guys' temperature on. And it is the Las Vegas Raiders getting a full touchdown against the Cincinnati Bengals. Because how in the world can the Bengals, with this defense, be laying 7 points? I need someone doing. I know it's the Raiders, guys. I know it's the Raiders.
Because everyone can just run straight on the Raiders, but on the Bengals, but the Raiders have the worst rushing attack in NFL history. So I don't know how that matchup is going to shake out. Honestly, I had the Bengals, and I changed at the last minute because I started thinking about it. These splits with T. Higgins, haven't these been crazy? Like, this team is horrific without T. Higgins.
Burrow is just a T. Higgins and Jamar Chase merchant. I'm sorry, guys. Like, I think Burrow is a good quarterback, okay? I'm not going to say that he's in the doldrums of the league. I'm not even going to say he's, like, replaceable. But the only reason he's great is because he has T. Higgins and Jamar Chase.
The Chargers were the Bengals were a bad team without T. Higgins. Then T. Higgins came back and they had some wins. Some of them weren't all that impressive, as I discussed last week. And then T. Higgins went away again and they immediately lost by 20 at home. So I don't know, man. It seems like T. Higgins is like the catalyst for this team. I mean, I understand that, like, everyone thinks Jamar Chase is better, and he probably is, but this might be one of those situations where when defenses can just bracket Jamar Chase freely without having to worry about anybody on the other side, it's having a spacing, NBA spacing type effect for this offense. You know, when they can't do that, everyone else is just finding much more space out there. So, I'm concerned about this Bengals offense without T. Higgins.
All right, I think we literally got every pick in everybody's top 5 except for 2. So let's just buzz through them real quick. They're lone wolves. Brett, will start with you. The Commanders win a game on a Hail Mary, and Brett Colson says, I'm betting the other side the next week. And you've got the Giants plus 3.
Yeah, of course. And this is also a rule of NFC East, right? The Commanders being favored by north of 3 on the road here makes no sense to me. And again, this might be my stubbornness. I have stubbornness with the Browns. On the other side, I have stubbornness with the Commies. Like, it is shining through here. I can't get to this number with Daniels on the road, especially off the win, that fake-ass win last week. No shot. So I'm on the Giants plus 3.5. What, Mike?
I mean, no, it was as fake as possible.
What? It was the opposite.
The Bears turned and handed to a guard on the 1 yard.
Okay, that's true. But statistically speaking, Washington won every single.
They got 80 free yards on that last drive.
Yeah,
I think I read that.
You gotta think the ADL.
I read that they were already ahead of everything before that. Dude, they won yards per play, time of possession, turnovers, penalties. I mean, they won absolutely every stat, and they still almost lost the game. That would have been an incredible L. It's hard to lose and win literally every stat on the sheet.
I mean, we have to dump on Aberflus real quick. They ran the Fences defense on the last play of the second quarter. They fenced beside him. And then hashtag when it matters in the fourth quarter, they just handed them 13 yards.
Did he explain that yet?
I have not.
Has he talked about that yet?
I heard they closed their practice so that nobody would grill them anymore about it.
What a disaster.
And then, Mo, you've got one lone wolf in your top 5. And tremendous play. Saints -7. You love Derek Carr. You're definitely the most pro Derek Carr person.
How can this be a lone wolf? This is literally a free space. The only reason it's 5th on my card is because I know everyone else is going to have the Saints too. You guys. Are you guys being serious right now?
I was surprised Donnie didn't go back to the well with Panthers #1. You're just going to keep martingaling until he came home.
Someone explain to me in English why we should ever expect the Panthers to be within 1 score of an NFL team. I have to know.
Are the Saints yet? I guess, is Cesar Ruiz back? Like, these guys, they were broken 2 weeks ago. They were not an NFL. That Thursday, the team that rolled up on Thursday Night Football 2 weeks ago was not an NFL. Obviously, Carr back, Olave back. Yeah, they just didn't play football. So, I mean, if you're telling me that we know Olave's back, we know Carr's back, if Ruiz is back, like if they're back to being a football team, then this might be fair. But man, from what I've seen these last couple weeks from the Saints, I cannot be laying 7 on the road.
Yeah, and like, what is the number, Mo? Like, what? There's a point where this goes too far in the market. Maybe we're not there yet, and I'm wrong again.
It's only 7.
But what's the number then?
Well,
10.5.
Again,
Oh my God.
No, but what I've been saying, we got to pull up some of these 0-16 Browns lines, because weren't the Browns getting lined at like 17, 18? Like whenever the Browns played a good team that year, they were plus damn near 20 in some of those games. So.
Dolphins a few years ago, too. Those lines were all like between 15 and 20 every week.
I'll get you out of here. Best stat I heard this week. Oh my goodness. Who is it? Is it the Saints? No, it's the Broncos. So the Broncos, delta from last week to this week. Last week they were 10-point favorites. This week they're 9-point dogs. So a 19-point difference. That is the largest delta, in weekly lines since 2007. Where the Eagles were 8-point favorites at home. I don't know who they played. But then next week they played at New England, against those perfect Patriots. And the Patriots were -24. They did not cover, by the way. I wish I was more sentient during the 07 season. Because if you look at the Pats, the last half of the season in the playoffs, they never covered. Because they were always minus infinite, and they just never covered. So that's your fun.
I remember that, and I remember when the 55 touchdown Peyton Manning Broncos were. I think they were like minus.
They were minus 20 against the Jags
or something
against the Jags.
Yeah, did not come close to covering. I think they won by like 10 or something.
So that's
Patriots
the card.
only won that game by 3.
The Eagles game? That's awesome.
Yeah. Tom Brady against A.J. Feely.
A.J. Feely.
So McNabb must have got hurt maybe the week before?
Maybe that's why that played into it as well. All right, so we've got currently the Ravens -9, the the Patriots +3, the Seahawks +1.5, the Chargers -1.5. Oh, I didn't even... Am I the worst host in history? Nobody, flagged me down? Nobody,
Collective?
This idiot just keeps rambling. We don't have a collective pick yet. I'm the worst. I was like, oh yeah, let's just get some more games in here. The collective.
Well, you said we talked about every game in our top 5 except one of mine, so I'm going to assume that's it.
Yeah, that's it, because I thought we talked about it, but hashtag we didn't talk about it. I'm worried about this one because I think it's going to be uber popular on both sides, and I'm worried that our side might be more popular because we have the Packers plus a full field goal at home against the Detroit Lions. Brett, you're disgusted. Tell me.
Because we don't even know who's playing quarterback yet. How can we have a take on this one?
Well, Jordan Love practiced. I think he's going to play.
But what's he going to look like?
I mean, it's LaFleur. LaFleur took cold Malik Willis and won a football game last week.
I know, but that was Malik Willis baked into the market. Like, Jordan Love's name baked into the market's not quite the same. I don't know. I have Packers, but I didn't know what to do with this.
If anything, don't we want it to be Malik Willis? Then we'll like, and this one goes to this one goes to what does it go to if it's Malik Willis? 5.5?
6.
It is not going to move that much. The market is
2.5 points from Malik Willis. I mean, I guess he has to garner some respect now from the performances.
Stop him. I mean, adjust the lines when he starts going out there and sucking.
And yeah, I'm sorry. All the people out there, ODB, Stubborn AF, we're just gonna keep finding that. We're just gonna keep looking for, I should say, because we haven't found it yet. We're gonna keep looking for the fade spot on the Lions, dude. Because they can't keep winning football games by 30.
No, they can't. And they do it every single week. And now Jared Goff has to go on the road against a solid team, play outdoors. I saw a 95% chance of rain. I mean, it's just like, no, come on. And then I also saw that, I mean, from what I looked at, everyone's just lining up to bet the Lions again. So I'm like, okay, let's go.
Like I said the other week, the first thing people do, I got to pick 5 games. Lions, there's one. I need 4 games. It's every week.
Can't really blame them when the Lions just score 50 every week and the other team scores 10. I mean, what
hard to find blame, but yeah. So we'll keep our eyes tuned to that. The next closest pick, if we need to jump off of that, is the Jags. So that is picked by nobody. So that would be the backup. Break glass in case of emergency. All right, shorter pod. Thanks for joining us. Follow these guys on Twitter at Brett Colson, COLLSON, at Donnie_Peterson, at Mo Nuara, NUWWARAH. I'm at Rich T. Ryan. Best of luck in your betting ventures. Peace.